So I understand that, because of what I do, one of the points of interest in talking to me was this whole diaspora engagement.
Yes.
But I do have a question for you though.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that we see a little bit of a differential, and so the reception African Americans specifically receive in places like Kenya versus Ghana and other places? What can we do to kind of build a stronger bridge of
Uh-huh.
communication and understanding?
I think there's a lot of
Okay.
miseducation, and I think people in West Africa, countries like Ghana, from their when they are young, I think they get to learn about slavery and all that because that's those were the exit points. Most of the West African countries, that's where most of the slaves were drawn from.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to think that there could be some who are drawn from the interior,
Mm-hmm.
but most people who were taken for slavery from East Africa,
Mm-hmm.
they were taken. That was the Indian Ocean slave trade, the
Mm-hmm.
Arab slave trade. So most of the people who were taken, they were maybe probably taken to Arabic countries, Europe, and the rest. So I think there's just that miseducation,
Mm-hmm.
and of course the media.
Mm-hmm.
We are exposed to media when we are very young. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of Western media and even local media. It's not like they know any better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the reason.
Yeah. Just on this notion of culture, sociology, and diaspora engagement, I'm just curious about one thing. One of the things I think when people ask me, what's going to be the most important thing to advance diaspora engagement with Africa, understanding there's diversity and all of that. Um, and I say the most important thing, particularly from African American perspective, is to feel a sense of welcome from a particular African country and that country's people. What do I mean by that? You see things like that in Ghana, Year of Return. Um, but I think that's probably the strongest manifestation of that. And so I think that is something that is underserved in places like Kenya. We've talked about it. Some of it
Yeah.
is just not have enough points of contact in real life with African Americans, right? Or not understanding a lot of the history, et cetera. Because the striking difference is this. Here's a stark difference. When you come to America, you can, based upon the fact that you're super intelligent, brilliant, likable, beautiful, all these things, but get help from the benefits that accrue to people of color on the basis of the African American and other people's civil rights struggle. Right? What does that mean? Housing, education, all these other things that when, for example, we come here, there's nothing, right? I'm a foreigner. And there's so much miseducation, oftentimes there's some negativity that has to be overcome. And what I would like to see, and I think is a key ingredient, is that we have to kind of shake off these shackles of ignorance and just be more, I think, more honest and more humble across the board. I'm not just talking about Kenya, I'm talking about across the board about how much there is this sense of interdependence that in some places is evident, in some places more of it needs to happen. And so that's a long about way of me asking you a question. Why aren't there more things about African Americans who have overcome so much in America that many people of African descent can now come into America and enjoy? Why isn't there more love? And why is there so much, oftentimes that dialogue, so many things overcome that are, framed and filtered through media, when the reality is there's some policy initiatives that trump all of that, that is part and parcel of the legacy of these people to the world. So I'll put it, legacy of African Americans to the world. That everybody, not just Africans, Indian Americans, people who came into America, in the 60s and 70s, benefited from a lot of these policy initiatives that were established by struggle, not just African Americans. A lot of enlightened people helped African Americans and were allies, but just seemingly, it just seems like that that reality is not part of the dialogue, discourse, and the consciousness of when I hear people throughout the continent, Africans on the continent, talk about African Americans.
Basically, I think if we look at right now, 2019, 2020, 2018, and we compare it to 10 years ago, I feel like things have started changing. There was a lot of miseducation, as you said. But looking at even Ghana being able to reach out for the year of return, and lots of other countries saying, not lots, some countries saying you can actually get this citizenship by DNA if your DNA shows that you're from, I think it's Sierra Leone or Senegal, you can get the citizenship. So I feel that there was a lot of miseducation, and it's a process, just like the struggle for the things that Africans who immigrate from Africa enjoy. It was a process. It wasn't immediate. So I think as we continue having these conversations, as we continue suggesting, you can see as the African diaspora who are coming to the continent are reaching out to the governments on, just trying to create or to pave way for the brothers and sisters in the diaspora. So I think I feel like it's taking time, but we're slowly getting there. And for East Africa, it's just something really, really, really new to us. So maybe that's why a lot of times people might not feel like maybe there's some direct relations and all that. But when you meet people like you who share and interact with people like you, and then with the social media right now, people being able to access, like more than 80% people can access internet, for instance, in Kenya. Like with the smartphones and all that, we're starting to learn, we're starting to get this. We're also starting to hear about stories about our sisters and brothers who come from the continent when they go there and they face racism and all that. A lot of times, if you go to some places, maybe in Kenya, some people would even call you Mzungu. Have you had that interaction?
Yes.
People calling you Mzungu.
But I would say it's the exception, not the rule, at least to me. Anyway, no one calls me that. They're talking to another Kenyan, they say, hey, this is Mzungu. But most people, a lot of people
if you
start
go
speaking
to
to me
the
in Swahili first.
Yeah. But
So-
when you go to maybe some rural areas and people hear your accent, they'll just say, Yule Mzungu mweusi, like that white black. It doesn't make sense, but like they will consider you that as Mzungu. I think
I've had more experience. I've had more experience. People start speaking to me in Swahili first.
yes,
assume I'm
because
Kenyan.
you just
Especially
you look physically,
face covered.
you look
Yeah.
Kenyan.
Right.
Yeah. Also, I think there's also that part where people ignore or assume because you come from a first world country, they feel that you really don't need anything from us. You get. So it's
Okay.
us who need stuff from you, or over you needing anything from us, because it's a third world country, or developing country as people call it, a country whereby the citizens are also trying to go to that place. So like, well, is there any? A lot of people don't value what we have, or don't think it's even something that they can offer to someone. So basically, that's my thinking about it. So like, you have best roads, best what, best what, best what. So like, what can we offer you?
I see.
Like, why would you leave all that to come
Right.
for this? Yeah.
That is the question of this interview. That is the question I think that is really important to understand when you talk about diaspora communities. What is the motivation and why stay? And so for us, as I said before, it's been about creating a new narrative with Africa, diaspora with Africa, shared prosperity, economic self-reliance, and working with the global community. Again, this isn't exclusive. Working with the global community to create a stronger Africa in general.